Hello, Taurus. Welcome to September, a fellow Earth sign season. A lot of trining going on between Capricorn and Virgo now. Yet, I pull out these cards and I'm looking at them. I'm just trying to get an overall vibe, right? Like what's Taurus really looking at? What are they dealing with? And I'm getting a very strong sense of temptation. Very strong, wherein you are going to be asked to rise above past behaviors, which can be very challenging, especially for you, a fixed earth sign. It's challenging for anybody, but we all have our archetype things, our zodiac sign things. And you are now, I'm not saying you're incapable of change, because absolutely, yes, of course you are. But it's a little more challenging sometimes. So let's dive right in. First and foremost, absolutely the best card we ever possibly could ask for, coming out as the foundation, which is why I know that you're capable of evolving past this. It's how I know that you are not going to succumb, which is the sun. And you won't. I know you won't. Because we're all being called up to rise up. All of us. That's kind of the message for everyone. And because it's Virgo season, and Virgo is so closely connected with self-perfection, and holding ourselves up to higher standards, we're all kind of putting ourselves under that microscope, and we are all pushing ourselves to do things differently. It's a mutable season as well, which enables change, the switch over from summer to autumn. So here we have the sun, which is our true energy source, our true source of all higher consciousness. There is wisdom with the sun. There is guidance. There is nourishment. There is happiness, love, and joy. All of these amazing things smack dab in the middle of your reading. So in spite of any sort of difficult things, you have the sun to lean back on, and it won't fail you. This is your light inside. It is going to be important for you to see that light inside of you, to hold yourself up to the idea that you are a godlike being and that you are a creation of the universe, right? There's a royalty quality coming out. So I'm getting things in threes. Threes is a huge number, not only for this month, but with this deck, okay? We're getting the Three of Cups, which has 3 mermaids here. We have the Lovers, which has 3 people. And we have Judgment, which has 3 ghosts. Let's begin with Judgment, because this has been coming out for it's been every single sign except for Aries, which I just did. Every single sign has Judgment coming out. This is Hermes, Mercury, going to the underworld to receive some kind of information for you to deal with, right? He's there for a purpose. He's not just there hanging out. He's there to collect something, to bring you a message. And the message comes from our past. It comes from our, past mistakes or past experiences, even our past victories, our past successes. They have something to say. Now is a time where we can connect the dots, where we see where we are today because of where we came from. And we begin to understand those past experiences and why they were so important in our development, why we had to go through those things. But they're going to resurface. Things are being dredged up. We're going to need, and I think we've got Chiron in Pisces. I don't know if it's officially there yet. Might be in Pisces now. Chiron in Pisces, I think this has a lot to do with that. Our subconscious headspace, our deep inner workings of our psyche, to help us establish balance. You know, they wouldn't be surfacing up like this if there wasn't like something that we still needed to work on. Again, Virgo, self-perfection. We needed to work on that stuff. So we got to deal with it. We got to look at it. We got to analyze it. We got to see what it is. And we got to, do something with it. So when you get the Three of Cups, this is why I'm like really leaning toward that temptation. The good news is you're not succumbing to those things. You have a guardian 100% in your corner. A guardian, many guardians. It's not going to let you fall back into any kind of addiction, fall back into any unhealthy lifestyle, fall back into denial or delusion or avoidance. Now is the time for you to look things in the face, head on. As we see with the Five of Swords, now in general, no matter what deck I'm using, I always associate the Five of Swords as being toxic patterns or bad habits that seem to be difficult to break, where we have this sort of mental program that we're kind of trying to, that we're operating with. But here I feel as though that program is being laid out in front of you, almost like you're being called in for an interrogation from the CIA and they're laying out all the truths for you and your mind is just like totally blown. Because you see it for what it is now. Now you see the programming that you've been operating under. And now it's time for you to stop operating like that. So these temptations really don't have anything on you. They don't really have any power. They're not going to affect you unless you let them affect you. And that's really the choice. Are you going to give them the power, or are you going to keep your power? And when we have the Four of Swords, the fours, as I always say, are the most mature of the numbered cards. They're the least likely to act impulsively. They're the least likely to be spontaneous or anything like that. 4 is a really good quality for a Taurus because it puts them in their element of taking time, thinking things through, being cautious but healthily so, not, stubbornly so. And see, this yogi, I don't know the mythology behind all these cards. These are all connected with Greek mythology in some way, shape, or form. I don't really know who everybody is, but so I'm just going to call it my yogi, is above the swords, meaning a master of thoughts. Right? So here you're having your programs being shoved in your face and being like, here's all the things that are operating in your subconscious that you don't even know is happening, which dictates why you do the certain things you do. And you're like, oh, wow, I had no idea. And then here you have these sort of temptations or these lifestyle choices or whatever. And you're like, okay, well, am I going to succumb? No, because that's a part of the program. I want to rewrite my programming. I want to redo this. If I can just reprogram my mind, I'm going to do it. It is going to require a breakdown, of course, although I don't see it being that dramatic. You've likely been going through this for a while, but it's coming to a head now. Now is the time. Virgo season is the time when we reap the benefits of our efforts. Now is the time when we can enjoy all our hard work. Now, the Emperor reversed indicates to me that you are in a position of authority in some way, shape, or form in your own life, with people in your life. You have something of importance or to give, so to speak. But right now, I think you're keeping it a lot to yourself. I think it hasn't just been perfected yet. You might not quite have the full picture. It's like one of those movies where there's a whole bunch of little storylines and at the end it all kind of comes together. And after the movie, you're like, okay, wait, so this person was good? They weren't really bad? You know, when you're in the parking lot trying to figure it out. That's kind of what the energy of what's going on. You might need to reevaluate or rewatch the movie so you can really fully understand now. Really fully understand what these temptations are, understanding what that programming is, what those bad habits are. It doesn't need to be that big a deal either. You know, I'm kind of using my my little addiction, which is like a coffee addiction, right? Like I love my coffee, even though I'm trying to be off caffeine or whatever. And it's just kind of like, I know I shouldn't, but then I do it anyway. And that's my toxic pattern. That's my addiction, right? So it doesn't have to be such a big deal for some of you, but for others of you, it is a big deal. For others of you, this is why romantic partnerships haven't worked out. This is why your career path is so far off base. This is why your situation with your family isn't going the way you want it to go, and why there's arguments and fighting. And, you know, this is why. It's not all your fault, right? But if we want to see change in our external world, we must change internally and come in contact with that Christ consciousness within us. Come in contact with the essence of the cosmos that is internal, with our inner universe. Now, you are in a position of great resources and great wealth. This is a problem, right? When people see that other people have things going for them, they want to cling on. It's going to be up to you to discern whether or not you have energy, time, resources to spare. I suspect right now is a period of conservation, because you're going to need to conserve energy. You're going to need to conserve your time so that you can process stuff. You can work through this stuff. You can practice this Four of Swords, rising above the programming, rising above the thoughts. However, any wisdom that you feel you have acquired or have come in contact with, it is in a way our obligation to share. Because people who hoard information or wisdom is not different than people that hoard possessions. You know, people that live in homes with tons of boxes. It's the same thing, you're just hoarding something different. People that understand energy understand that energy needs to flow. That's kind of the essence of like feng shui and in home decor, right? Or office decor. You need the energy to be able to move and flow around and, you know, underneath the bed. And, you know, you need that life force to circulate. So if you have wisdom and it's not like an inflow, outflow situation, you may need to work on the outflow, the sharing. But if you don't feel ready and you don't feel like you fully comprehend, then it is your responsibility to not share, because it is doing a disservice for people if you're sharing like wisdom that's not fully understood, right? Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Sometimes I feel like I babble. Hopefully it's clear. And then the Lovers, connected with the Three of Cups. This is Paris's choice. You guys know this story. We have Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite all presenting their gifts. Aphrodite presenting the gift of the love of the most beautiful woman in the world, right? Helen, which is who he chose, which is why we have the Trojan War. The implications of our choices, right? We may think that it is something simple or something that will just make us feel good, but we need to think about the resonance of what happens once we make that choice. Once we succumb to some kind of temptation, once we succumb to immediate satisfaction. Immediate satisfaction is such a base, third-dimensional thing. Satisfaction of our egos, satisfaction of our emotional state. And a lot of times the immediate satisfaction, I mean, we all know that that doesn't really last. We all know that when we get a new car, the satisfaction of that disappears very quickly. You may be feeling, with Eight of Pentacles reversed, a little clogged up, energetically, which I think Six of Pentacles is kind of a reinforcing statement as well. Just feeling like the flow isn't quite there. You may need to work on the flow a little bit. You may be feeling distracted. You may be feeling a little there's a worrywart quality with Virgo season, especially when, we've got Mercury going in there. There is a worrywart quality. No doubt about it. And we all may be feeling a little bit anxious and antsy. Moving, changing, doing all these, little things, it's a lot. Virgo season can be a lot. We just went through a lot. Cancer season was a big deal. The eclipses was a big deal. And now we're like trying to harness everything, all these lessons that we've learned. We're trying to organize them, make them, find a way that we can apply these lessons in our lives. But see, Chariot comes out. And this is a different kind of Chariot card, so I'm going to read it differently. Where these horses, these stallions, you can look in their faces with the red eyes, with the white horse and the tongue kind of hanging out on the black horse. They represent our base instincts, the base animal instincts. It's not the beautiful, divine pathway, life purpose kind of card. It's our inner duality, sometimes working against us. And so when it's reversed, it's an indication that it's time to learn how to merge our duality, to rise above. See, and that's what Judgment is all about. That's what this Mercury card is doing. It's surfacing these things up so that we can learn how to merge. It is going to be important for you to be vulnerable this month. Nine of Wands reversed. When you look at it upright, you see what you're protecting yourself against. But sometimes we need that storm to come in. Right? We need to find our way safely to shore in spite of the storm. Because the storm is what gives us the experience that we need. And I think a lot of us have gone through the storm. And we really are trying to find our way safely to shore now. But we've been humbled by that storm. We've been humbled by what has surfaced. We have been humbled by our mistakes. And now we seek balance. We seek the merging of the two, the equality there. Not being pulled into one extreme or the other, but just really finding the middle way. And I know, and actually interesting, I even just said that because the Scorpio reading I called the middle way, the middle road. And it applies to you because you are just as much Scorpio as you are Taurus. We are just as much our opposite as we are our side of the pole. So that really applies. You may want to watch the Scorpio reading, actually. You may want to. Even if you have no Scorpio in your chart, it probably applies in some way. So a lot to clarify in the comprehensive. 3 of Cups, 5 of Swords, Judgment for sure, Lovers for sure, Emperor reversed, Chariot. So we do have a longer story ahead of us, all right? So I hope to see you there on the website. If not, I will see you next month for the general reading. Thank you guys so much. Take care.